So let's get into some principles. We had to lay that foundation, that baseline to get into these principles. Now we're going to understand them. This first principle is so basic, yet largely ignored. Avoid dangerous people and places. Very simple, but very important. I used to have in the Marine Corps, I had a commander tell us often, nothing good happens between midnight and 05. Nothing good. Okay, that's when everyone's getting in trouble at various places and times. But it's usually between midnight and 05. Okay, I'm not saying don't do anything between midnight and 05. I'm just saying we need to understand dangerous places, dangerous people, and avoid those. Take a look at these photos right here. In the upper left is Cape Town, South Africa. Wonderful place, beautiful place, great place to visit. It has some of the most crime-ridden districts on the planet. There's districts where you would absolutely never want to accidentally go into, because the reality is that you are probably going to be assaulted in some way if you go there. Down in the lower left is Brazil. It's a city in Brazil. It has 135 murders per 100,000 people. That is astronomically high. That is very high. It's one of the quote-unquote murder capitals of the world. In the lower right-hand corner is a city in Honduras, which is the murder capital of the world. 175 murders, and that's just murders. That is not counting assaults, robberies, rapes, etc. Violent crime is off the charts. And of course, I had to throw a picture of that road in there. You're just not going to catch me driving on that road. What they're trying to do there is the road kind of fell down, so they're going to stack the rocks back up so they can continue going. That just seems like a bad idea. If we look at another example here, I want you to look at this example. And it's the city of, this is the most dangerous city in the United States. It is East St. Louis, which is actually a city in Illinois. So East St. Louis, Illinois, and the violent crime there is off the charts. So when we look at it, what it really boils down to is that what are your chances of becoming a victim in East St. Louis? 1 in 28. How would you like to take those odds of violent crime happening against you? Sounds like a good place to avoid. Now that's on the macro level. We can look at those things. We can study those things, make decisions on where we're going to go, where we're not going to go, where we're going to vacation, and when. On the micro level, you could go to some of the nicest places and still have violent crime happen against you. We need to understand that. Okay, so on the micro level, you could be, you can see that there's a picture here of something being slipped into somebody's drink. Okay, and this happens quite often. And it's usually referred to as date rape or just something like that. So we have to be aware of where we're at, where we're going, and what we're doing at all times. It's really important. The next principle that I want to talk about is situational awareness, and this is extremely important. Now the pictures here are hilarious. I don't know if they're real or not, but they illustrate a really good point. You know, that first truck is driving with the porta-johns in the back. He's clearly going to hit the overpass. He's not aware of his surroundings at all. The car behind him is not aware of his surroundings at all and is just following along blindly. This could be a disaster. Okay, the bottom picture, obviously, they're like searching for lions and there happens to be one behind them. But on a more serious note, if we talk about situational awareness or alertness, as Jeff Cooper liked to call it, it is critical. And I want to relay one story that occurred to me. I was in Spokane. I was dropping someone off at the airport late at night, 10 o'clock at night, and then I had to pick someone up at the airport the next morning at like 05 or something. Well, I lived pretty far away from the Spokane airport, so I didn't want to drive home. So I kind of broke my own rule of avoiding dangerous people and places, avoiding midnight and 05, all those kinds of things. So I went to a Denny's, 24 hours, lit parking lot, hang out there. Nothing bad's going to happen here. So I go to Denny's, I hang out. I go out into the parking lot, and I'm hanging out, and it's about 2 or 3 in the morning, and I go, okay, I've got an hour and a half to sit here. I'm just going to sit here. Again, lit parking lot, 24-hour dwelling, etc. Now, as I'm sitting there, yes, I'm breaking the first principle, but I am aware of my surroundings, and I'm kind of looking around because I know I shouldn't be here. I should have got a hotel room, but I didn't. And I see a guy riding a bike, and he's down the street. So if you just imagine yourself in a car sitting in the driver's seat, and you can just use kind of the clock method. At 11 o'clock, I see a guy riding a bike down the road, and he's coming. He goes 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, boom, turns into the parking lot. Okay, I'm looking now. Okay, I'm legally armed, I'm ready. If anything bad were to happen. So 9 o'clock, he's coming. He's riding his bike, and this guy, if you could imagine a stereotypical, and I know that's terrible to say, meth head, this was him. Okay, this was him. So you have to understand cues and look at people and to give you indicators of a potential problem. Okay, so he rides his bike, and I shift, and I'm watching, and he starts going by, and I shift to my mirror, and I see him. Okay, boom, just went from from 9 to 8 to 7, out of sight. I shift over to the right mirror, nothing. So he was over here, he's not over there. Well, what does that mean? Obviously, that means he stopped right there. And I was like, okay, something's up. So I'm watching. I'm looking in my rear view mirror, and I'm starting to get a little bit amped up. Like, okay, this could be a problem. And sure enough, about 5 seconds later, comes around the left side, starts coming up in tight, and I see exactly what's going on, and I'm ready.